It really has been a rough couple of years for the MCU, with an unpleasant combination of a multiverse story arc that never really got off the ground, disgraced stars that forced major course changes, box office flops, disappointing underperformers, and occasional isolated successes that were impossible to capitalise on. It's a franchise that's been drifting directionless ever since Endgame, with no clear narrative drive and nothing in particular to get excited about, and from the looks of things so far, 2025 isn't shaping up much better. What they really need is a good old Avengers movie, something to reunite the scattered characters and wandering storylines of the MCU into one big blowout finale, so that they can move forward into a bold new era of storytelling. And the thing in question is Avengers Doomsday, scheduled to release in May of next year. Well, actually it's the first part of that thing. The second part is going to be Avengers Secret Wars in 2027, which, if the rumours are true, will basically act as the endgame to Doomsday's Infinity War, capping off the current era of Marvel movies and probably feeding into a soft reboot of the entire franchise. And not before time either. Now, because it's been quite a while since anyone got excited for anything MCU related, it was vital that Marvel did everything they could to build up the anticipation for this one. So what did they do, you might ask? Did they release some kick-ass teaser trailer to get the audience pumped up? Did they give tantalizing hints about the exciting new direction they'll take with the story? Maybe even some interviews with the cast and director?
Wrong.
Nah, they just dropped a 5-hour live stream with a bunch of names on the backs of chairs. I mean, fuck me, it's different, I guess. And to be fair, there's a pretty extensive list of names attached to this one. Sure, a lot of them are fucking nobodies from obscure movies that most of us can barely even remember. Seriously, you need to stop trying to make Yelena happen. She's not going to happen. Neither is Shuri as discount Black Panther for that matter. However, there are some big names in there too. Once again proving that every man has his price, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back after being away for more than half a decade, this time playing Victor Von Doom, which I'm sure totally isn't a cheap way of backdooring Tony Stark into the franchise again. If I was a cynical man, I'd say that old Robert here might have been missing those big Marvel paychecks lately, because his post-Endgame career hasn't exactly been jam-packed with box office smashes. The thing is, as awesome as he was back in the day, he's almost 60 years old now and he kinda looks it, and I'm not really sure I want to see a stringy, washed out, aging, veganized actor like him half-heartedly going through the motions for an easy payday. It's a bit like dragging your dad along to a Comic-Con dressed as some anime character he's never heard of and forcing him to pose for pictures with people a third of his age. I'm actually kinda surprised to see Chris Hemsworth coming back though, when he seemed to be pretty much done with Marvel after the disaster of Love and Thunder. I wonder what they've got in mind for him this time. Can't wait to see Thor go on another journey of self-discovery to find his true purpose in life for like the 5th time in the past decades. Pedro Pascal's also making an appearance in this movie, naturally, because he's in literally everything. In fact, I'm not entirely convinced he isn't in this room with me right now. Oh wait, that's just Tatiana. Shut up, I'll feed you when I'm goddamn good and ready! No sign of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel though.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
I mean, I know she's been overshadowed by people like Rachel Zegler in recent years, who did what she did, only bigger and faster and more retarded. But you know what? Brie did it before it was cool. She walked so that Rachel could fly, and I think she deserves closure, damn it. But the biggest surprise, if you can even call it that, was the contingent of old X-Men actors making an appearance in this film. And fuck me, I really do mean old. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, who are both well into their 80s now, are reprising their roles as Xavier and Magneto. So are Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romijn, and James Marsden. I wonder if Rebecca's gonna have the balls to get into that blue bodysuit again. And you can bet your left arse cheek that Hugh Jackman won't pass up an opportunity to play Wolverine again, even if he hasn't been officially announced yet. The thing is, haven't we done the whole bring back the X-Men actors for nostalgia bait routine like several times already? I mean, I like those actors as much as the next guy, and it feels like there's a growing nostalgia for that early 2000s era of superhero movies, but really, what are we trying to accomplish here? Just another multiversal clusterfuck where we bash a bunch of toys from different franchises together and hope something interesting happens? And I guess that leads me into my main takeaway from this whole thing. It all just feels a little bit desperate. Just one big gimmick, baiting people into watching it for a chance to see their favourite character in action one more time. And the thing is, that's really not what the Avengers movies are supposed to be.
Fuck.
Films like this are supposed to be the culmination of a storyline that's been carefully building up for several years across multiple movies. It's the big release of dramatic tension that you need every so often, but the problem is, there is no dramatic tension in the MCU anymore because nobody seems entirely sure what the fuck's even happening in it. Captain America Brave New World mentioned at one point that the Avengers technically don't even exist anymore, and it took me a moment to realise, oh yeah, he's actually right there. It's been so long since any movie in the franchise actually addressed the state of the Marvel Universe that I'd stopped even thinking about it in those terms anymore. Much like Star Wars can't seem to make any new ideas work, Marvel is now forced to reference itself to generate interest in its new projects, drawing on the past to try to prop up the present. Like an old man with his best days long behind him, all the MCU can really do now is reminisce about happier times, when it was still young and cool and respected, when it was still doing great things, and people flocked to see its latest offerings on their own merits. As I said earlier, the consensus seems to be that a reboot of some kind is on the way for Marvel, and the two upcoming Avengers movies are going to act as kind of closure for the characters and stories that have been driving it since the very beginning. It's the kind of thing the comics industry does from time to time when storylines have become so convoluted and unmanageable that the only thing left to do is wipe the slate clean and start again. And after almost 2 decades of movies and TV shows, hundreds of characters and crazy universe-changing events, the MCU really is sinking under its own weight now. That is an issue, but the sad reality is that its own audience has kind of outgrown it and moved on now. The kids who excitedly flocked to the cinema to watch that first Avengers movie back in 2012 are now adults in their 20s, probably have kids of their own by now, and don't really have the time or the energy to go watch superheroes fight CGI monsters. The MCU has been going for so long that it's become a generational franchise, but the problem is, I don't get the impression the younger generations are all that interested in it. It's why most of their attempts to pass on iconic superhero mantles to new characters and actors have ended in failure, because old audiences won't accept them and new audiences aren't interested in the first place. I think Marvel knows this too, which is why they're playing the nostalgia card so hard with this one. Time will tell whether it proves to be a winning hand, but personally, I don't like their odds. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.